Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Ringo TV Reactions. I'm your host, Ringo, back again with another video. Make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe. Let's get right into it. So we have a situation right now where there is a story going around about a young woman who is 27 years old who was found hanging from a tree. And I realized that with topics like this, people from the rage bait community, people that are race hustlers, right? They jump on board these type of topics right away because it's the perfect topic to enrage Black people. Because when you hear a story about a young lady who was found in Florida pretty much hanging, well, they claim she's a woman from Florida, claim that she was hanging from a tree, and the family wants answers. So what's the first thought that come to your mind when you hear something like that? The first thought that come to your mind normally, if you're a Black person that has like a victimhood mentality, you suffer from, internalized racism, you're always worried about white supremacy. The first thought that come in your mind is a white person had something to do with that. Just think about it. As soon as you hear anything about a Black person hanging on a tree, the first thing you think about is white people. Why is that? I want you to answer the question as a Black man, as a Black woman. Why is it that when stories pop up and you hear about someone hanging from a tree, you immediately think a white person had something to do with it? You don't think a Black person had something to do with it. They don't even cross your mind. You don't ever think an Asian person had something to do with it. You don't think that some African person had something to do with it. The first thing that comes to your mind is a white man, because you think a tree hanging, the thoughts of lynching comes in your mind. And you immediately run with that. And that's what social media influencers are doing right now, because that is how the hustle work. So I want to tackle this particular topic by making you understand that we live in a day where people are unaliving themselves. People are killing themselves. They're crashing their cars. They're jumping off rooftops, jumping in front of subways, trains. They're taking pills. They're hanging themselves. You name it, guys. It's happening every day. I told you that we're in a spiritual warfare. I told you that NPCs and demons are running the earth and people are losing their minds. So one thing I want you to understand before we get into the meat and potatoes of this particular message is I always tell you, when stories like this happen, we got to follow the money. What's the first thing that normally happens when we do these cases? I'll tell you. The family starts a GoFundMe. That's right. The family starts a GoFundMe claiming justice for Tonea Nicole Miller. And they're trying to raise $10,000. Now, the reason why I clipped this right away is because I know that this money is not for anything other than personal use. They do this all the time, guys. We've seen this with Steven Twitch Boss. We've seen this with Ashley Janae. We've seen this with everybody. Everybody always start up a GoFundMe and start collecting money. And they don't do what they say they're going to do. They told you with the Ashley Janae case that they're going to hire investigators, that they're going to get an independent autopsy, that they're going to go to Zanzibar. None of that was done till this day. Nothing has been revealed. Nothing. So all that money that was given to their pockets. They robbed you. Just like this family is robbing you right now. Right? So what we're seeing here is they're trying to raise $10,000. They're up to $982. And they said Tonea Nicole Miller's family uses this fund for an independent autopsy and investigation. Guys, $10,000 is not enough for an independent autopsy and an investigation. So off the brink, this right here is a lie. Because why would they want to go get an independent autopsy? That's the same thing we heard with Ashley Janae. And we're not done with the Ashley Janae case. We're going to continue talking about that. I'm very busy, guys. And due to the lack of support from you good people who don't support the work, there really is no motivation to talk about these topics because you're not supporting my efforts. Something that you just lack and don't understand. If you're not supporting the work, how could I keep making content and don't earn nothing? Does that make sense, guys? Makes no sense. You got to support the creators. You understand? Because I'm independently doing this work. Nobody works with me. And I speak the truth. I'm not out here hustling people, lying to people, and making up stories. I do the homework, the research. Blood, sweat, and tears go into the content. So when we look at this case with Tonea Nicole Miller, there's a lot of things that come to mind when you think about this particular death. They're claiming that she was hanging from a tree, and that's the headlines that the media is putting out. And I really believe that when the media put out stuff like that, man, they're really just trying to get black people upset. Similar to another story where you have some other black kid that I guess he was hanging out with his white friends and he turned up missing, and then they end up finding the body. And now all over social media, black influencers once again are blaming white people. So we got two new stories that are out, and everybody is race hustling and rage baiting black people. Just keep on getting you angry. And with all these stories, you folks just keep assuming white people had something to do with it when you don't even know what you're talking about. Like, have it ever dawned on you that a black person can kill a black person? Have it ever dawned on you that black people kill each other every single day and nobody have any outrage about it? Black people kill each other every day. And I don't see nobody talking about these things. Nobody cares, man. It's like we just want somebody to blame. Like we're so concerned for Tonea Miller. We're so concerned about her death that we disregard every black man, every black woman that died in the black community by the hands of black people. And we have in our finite mind that because they claim she was hanging from a tree, that a white person had something to do with it. Even though they made it very clear she took her own life, even though they said there's no signs of foul play, you don't want to hear that. We heard that with the Ashley Janae case, right? Even though with that case, she was clearly with somebody. You understand? She was with somebody. She was with her so-called fiance, which clearly is a red flag. But yet they ruled it as she took her own life, even though I don't believe that, but that's what they're saying. And there's a lot more to that story that we're going to bring out in due time. At the same time, we're seeing the same method of operation being done here, guys. We have this story where they're claiming this woman was hanging from a tree. And then you have another story of another young man that was hanging out with his white buddies. And now YouTubers are spreading lies every day in order to cash in. So let's take a look at the news report. And then we're going to come in and talk about this particular case and kind of wrap up the show. Let's get into the content. Let's go.
The death of a Michigan woman in South Florida has gained a lot of attention online. Now, a family member is pleading for answers after deputies say that they found her sister dead near Gwen Cherry Park in Miami-Dade County last week. Detectives say that their investigation found no evidence of foul play and say that it appears that she died by suicide. A woman's sister, however, strongly disputes that.
If anybody knew that my sister Tonea Nicole, that's the last thing she would do. That's the last thing she's thinking about. She loved life too much.
Deputies say Tonea's body was found last Thursday morning. Investigators say her belongings were with her and they found no signs of violence. Over the past week, Miller's death has drawn growing attention on social media. Today, the NAACP and community leaders call for transparency in the investigation. The Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office attended today's news conference to say that the case is closed, though they say that they will review any credible new information brought forward.
Based on the totality of the evidence gathered during this investigation, detectives found no evidence that Ms. Miller's death was the result of foul play. We understand that this does not lessen the grief of those that loved Ms. Miller, nor does it erase the difficult questions that often follow a tragic loss.
Experts say mental health struggles can be complex and are not always visible to others. If you or someone you know is struggling, help is available by calling or texting 988.
So we have the news brief on what they're saying and so on and so forth. So we're going to kind of dig into this and kind of break this thing down. It's a couple of things I want to point out. They said that her belongings was with her, right? But at the same time that they're saying that, right, there's some more information I want to bring out here. It says the family of 27-year-old, give me a minute. They said the family of 27-year-old Tonea Nicole Miller is fiercely disputed the Miami-Dade Police Department's classification of her death as an apparent S-word. Miller, a Michigan native, was found hanging from a tree near Gwen Cherry Park on June 18th. It goes on and it says, while local investigators state they found no evidence of foul play after an initial review, the family doubts stem from several concerning factors. Okay, now it goes on and says, out of character. Her sister, Terry Miller, stated that Tonea loved life and that taking her own life would be completely against her nature. Now, we heard the same thing in regards to many other stories. We heard this with Stephen Twitch Boss. We heard this with Ashley Janae. We heard this with many other people that died or was reported to have died by taking their own life, right? They always say they were full of life and that they wouldn't do such a thing, right? It goes on and it says missing belongings. Family members noted suspicious circumstances surrounding the scene, including the fact that her phone was missing, right? So because her phone is missing, they're assuming that there must be some sort of foul play, not understanding that sometimes people will unalive themselves and get rid of their phone so that you won't find nothing. Do you understand? We also have to factor in that they claim that she was celebrating Juneteenth. We also got to consider, was she by herself and did she go with friends or did she link up with someone else? These are the things that you have to think about, because if you're celebrating Juneteenth, then you must be around a lot of black folk. So when you think about that, right, if you're celebrating Juneteenth, you would normally be around a lot of black folk. So why is it that on social media, a lot of influencers are trying to pin this on white people by saying white people did something to her? Well, how could that be possible, right? If she's out celebrating Juneteenth. So it goes on and it says different perspectives. It says, while some extended family members initially expressed acceptance after speaking with the medical examiner, the immediate family and thousands of online advocates continue to demand total transparency. Now, when it says thousands of online advocates, those are the race hustlers. Those are the rage baiters who want to hustle this story to enrage black people. I've seen this happen so many times, guys. I'm always reporting on these stories, and I keep telling you to beware of the race hustlers and the rage baiters who will make up a bunch of content to make people angry, primarily black people. So it goes on and it says, because the investigation is active and the medical examiner's toxicology and final reports remains pending, her sister has launched a campaign to fund an independent autopsy and hire a private investigator to uncover the truth. So the sister is setting up what we all done showed you guys, a GoFundMe to pay for an investigator and also an independent autopsy. Now, when you think about these things like independent autopsies and all this other stuff, guys, this costs money, right? It costs money to do these things. So let me show you this thing. Let me put this on the screen. Give me a minute, guys. Give me a minute. Let me go get this information so I can show you this stuff. So we have this and we have this. So let me put this into the video, right? Let's get that and also this. So let's look at this one first so that we can come to the conclusions of what we got to deal with. So it says an independent or private autopsy typically costs between $3,000 and $6,000 for a standard examination and report, with complex cases or specialized testing exceeding $10,000. These elective procedures are out-of-pocket expenses and are not covered by health insurance, Medicaid, or Medicare. So as you can see, their goal is $10,000. So just an independent autopsy, not enough for that $10,000. And this is how they scam you, because they set their goal at $10,000, and then later when it reaches $10,000, they'll set it to $30,000, and they'll keep going up. So now let's look at this and break this down. So now here it says investigating a death typically costs between $2,000 and $10,000, depending on whether you are hiring a private investigator. Cost in 2026 $50 to $150 an hour, free quote, or a private forensic pathologist. How much does a private autopsy cost? The exact price depends on the scope of the case and the service required. It goes on and says to determine the most practical path forward, the breakdown of these costs is as follows. Private investigator, hourly rate, please typically charge, private investigators typically charge between $75 to $150 per hour. How much does hiring a private investigator cost? It says retainer fee. Most investigators require an upfront retainer, which can range from $1,000 to $5,000 for complex cases like a death investigation. Additional expenses. You will also need to cover database searches, $25 to $200, surveillance equipment, $150 to $500 a day, mileage, and potential travel costs. Private investigators cost in 2026 $50 to $150 per hour, free quote. So, guys, this is a big mess. Like, if you just keep reading at your own leisure, guys, I ain't reading all of this stuff. I don't got no time. Now, putting all of that together, guys, it's going to cost a lot of money for this family to have a private investigator to do an internal investigation about this story. And they're going to also cost them a lot of money for an independent autopsy, even though the toxicology hasn't come in and it has already been ruled as she took her own life. The family just don't care about what was said. They want you to waste your money on them trying to figure it all out their way. And to be honest, guys, I think the family just trying to get paid off of her death, just like everybody else always try to get paid off of their family's death. We live in a sick world where people are always trying to get paid off their loved one's death. This is happening every single time, guys. And it's really, really sick, but this is what's going on. Now, it is my personal opinion, guys, based on the magnitude of this particular story. I don't think that the family knew who, Tonea actually is. I don't think they really know her mental state. I think that they are making excuses and they're trying to use the opportunity because they know black people are going to become emotional and they're going to try to figure, well, must have been some sort of foul play. But this is what you have to understand, guys. If there was foul play, right, how exactly, right, in this circumstances, will the truth be able to be known without any leads? Without any leads, the case is closed. Matter of fact, they said the case is closed. But for some reason, they're going to continue to drag this story because blacks have to find someone to blame. Rather than just accepting the fact that this woman took her life, rather than just accepting the fact that if there was foul play, we just can't jump to conclusions and just consider, well, a white person had something to do with it because she was hanging from a tree. You don't know what happened. You don't know what this woman did. They said that her cell phone haven't been found. We don't know what happened to her phone. She could have threw her phone in a river somewhere because she don't want nobody to know what she's doing. She don't want no traces. Or maybe somebody found her phone. Maybe she lost her phone. We don't know. But to just jump to conclusions and say, well, a white person had something to do. Or let's just start blaming white people. Let's just be suspicious. I cannot stand the fact that black people keep doing that every single time somebody black dies. You're acting as if though anytime a black person die, a white person killed them. That's crazy, guys. That's absolutely madness. Did this woman have a boyfriend? Did this woman meet up with someone? Did she really go out there on Juneteenth to celebrate Juneteenth? Or was she out there to meet a man? See, these are the type of things that we need to understand. Was she into dating white men? Was she into dating black men? Was she into dating Asian men? These are the things that you must understand. If we don't know these things, how could we conclude that there's some sort of foul play? How? Where? There's no foul play. Based on the facts and the story, where and what and how do you come up with the mindset that, well, a white person had to do something to her? How? Where are the facts that can back that claim? Because if not, then you're just targeting people and labeling everybody else as a killer, and you don't have no facts, and that's not right. That's not cool. It's not cool to just see someone die and then you just blame it on some other group. That's crazy. You know, we need leads. We need video footage. We need facts. You know, we got to look at the crime scene, you know, or where she died, and we got to look for clues. Was if there's foul play, then there should be hair follicles. You got fingerprints. You got a lot of different things that need to be factored in on this case. And if nothing was of that sort in that environment, then that woman took her own life, gang. And we just got to accept that fact. And rather than blaming everybody all day, you know, it's real toxic to do that. So I'm going to read what the GoFundMe says, guys. I have it on my end. I'm just going to read it. I'm not going to put it on the screen because they post a lot of stuff on the GoFundMe. So it goes on, and we're reading from the GoFundMe page, guys. That's what we're reading right now, right? So let's see. So we're reading from the GoFundMe page. I'm not going to show you everything. You could go there and you can find it yourself. I'm going to read it because I have a separate text with the messages so I can read it. So on the GoFundMe page, it says, Justice for Tonea Nicole Miller. It says, my name is Terry Miller. I'm the oldest and only living sister of Tonea Miller, age 27, born September 30th, 1988, in Hurley Hospital. It goes on and says, Flint, Michigan. She was my baby sister, born to, Kimjana Mendez, King Miller, Horn. Thought she was born in Flint. We were raised together in Lansing. On June 18th, 2026, Tonea, also known as Nikki or affectionately as Rose among friends, was found deceased hanging from a tree in Gwen Cherry Park in Miami, Florida. Contrary to the claims on social media, she wasn't in Miami for Juneteenth. So now the person is saying that she wasn't in Miami for Juneteenth. So that means that YouTubers are spreading rumors. Now, before I continue doing that, let me read what I saw somebody post on, I believe it's Facebook, right? I believe this is Facebook. Let me see. Give me a minute. Where is it? Okay. Let me post this. I'm going to put this on the screen so we can see it, because this is some text that I got from, I believe it's Facebook or Instagram. I'm not sure exactly which one, but it's one of those pages, right? So let me get that. Let me see. And I'll get back to the GoFundMe. So this is somebody had posted this on either Instagram or Facebook, right? So I want to read this, and then we can get back to the GoFundMe text. So it says, the Miami-Dade Police Department has classified the death of 27-year-old Tonea Nicole Miller as a S word, but her family and members of the public are actively disputing this ruling and demanding a full investigation. Miller, also known as Nikki, originally from Flint, Michigan, was found deceased on June 18th, 2026. Her body was found hanging from a tree in or near Gwen Cherry Park in the Gladeview area of Miami-Dade County, Florida. she had traveled to Miami to celebrate the Juneteenth holiday weekend. Now, you see this person, right, that posts this on Facebook. Let me see if I can get the exact page. Let me see if I have it. I don't know if I can find it. So give me a minute, guys. Let me see. Okay. Is this it? Yeah. Okay. This is the person that actually posts that, because what I'm trying to show you guys is I want to make sure that we have this all for the record of where I'm getting this info from, because a lot of times these influencers and these people on social media, they post these things and then other YouTubers run with these narratives and they're all lies. So let me put this on the screen. Let me put this on the screen so you guys can get this. Give me a minute. I think, okay, here we go. So this is where the text come from. The text that I have on the screen, this is where it come from. So this is Instagram, guys. Instagram, as you can see right there, that person, Anthony_Supreme, is the one who posted that 4 days ago, right? So let me take that off the screen and then I'll get back to read it. So he said that her body was found hanging from a tree, and pretty much he said that she had traveled to Miami to celebrate the Juneteenth holiday weekend. Now, that's what he said. You get what I'm saying? So now what I'm trying to get you guys to understand about social media is a lot of times Black influencers will create a narrative. She was celebrating Juneteenth. She was celebrating Juneteenth. So now if she end up hanging on a tree after celebrating Juneteenth, it kind of would make a Black person think like, wow, some white person hanged her after she was out there celebrating Juneteenth. That's so sad. And that's what the race hustlers are spinning. Because if that person posts this on their social medias, but the sister said she was not out there celebrating no Juneteenth, now we got conflicting stories. So who you gonna believe? The social media influencers who are saying that she was out there celebrating Juneteenth, or her own sister who said she was not out there celebrating Juneteenth? So it goes on and says local authorities have stated they do not suspect foul play. Official policy restricts the public release of specific details regarding open investigations involving self-harm, and very little information has been made public. Her family has publicly rejected the S-word classification, stating that taking her own life was completely out of character for her. They have flown to Florida to seek direct answers, noting suspicious details such as her phone being missing. The family is currently searching for any witnesses who may have been in or around Gwen Cherry Park on June 18th, 2026, to help piece together her final hours. So that's that situation there. So now let me go back to the reading the GoFundMe. So I got the GoFundMe thing on my end. So let me continue reading it. So now it says on June 18th, Tonea, and I'm reading what the GoFundMe says, right? It says on June 18, 2026, Tonea, also known as Nikki or affectionately as Rose among friends, was found deceased hanging from a tree in Gwen Cherry Park in Miami, Florida. Contrary to claims on social media, she wasn't in Miami for Juneteenth celebrations. Since January, she'd been working independently, supporting herself and building a new life in Florida. Do you see how the sister is telling us what really went down? So you can't take, guys, what social media be giving you. A lot of these influencers, they lie to you every day. Every single day, they'll lie. They'll make up stories every day. The sister said she was not down there celebrating no Juneteenth. So if you hear YouTubers, if you hear podcasters pushing a narrative of she was down there celebrating Juneteenth, they're all lying. From the biggest YouTuber to the smallest YouTuber, they're all lying for a check. And this is what they do every day, guys. So it says she wasn't in Miami for Juneteenth, right? It says since January, she been working independently, supporting herself and building a new life in Florida, which means she lived in Florida. Do you understand? She lived in Florida. So it goes on and it says, she had visited Flint once earlier this year solely for our mother's funeral. It goes on and it says, authorities say it was S-word. They have already closed the case. I have questions about their findings and have doubts that it was S-word. For example, in April, Tonea recorded a video where she said she would never commit S-word and called it dumb-ish. If you needed someone to remind you why to keep going, that was Tonea. But see, now here's something I want you to think about, guys. She's telling you that her sister made a video saying she would never commit S-word. Well, just because she made a video saying she would never commit S-word, that don't mean anything. She could still do it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that be their way of saying that they're going to do it. But they're inadvertently making you believe that they didn't or they wouldn't do such a thing. You know, sometimes family members just can't accept that their family members would do such a thing. So it says, for example, in April, Tonea recorded a video where she said she would never commit S-word and called it dumb-ish. If you needed someone to remind you why to keep going, that was Tonea. Even during her darkest times, she still held on hope. But notice what she said, guys, in her darkest times, which means Tonea had dark times. We don't know what was going on in this woman's mind mentally. It goes on and it says, still believe in light. And now I need your help fighting for hers. What we need and what this covers. I have retained the civil rights nonprofits Julian to help me on this case. Julian is the only organization in the nation with a focus on modern day lynchings. Do you see what she's doing, guys? She's taking this thing all the way left. She's calling it modern day lynchings. You see that? So she's turning it into a racial issue now. This is bad, and you should not get involved in this because it went from a death of a sister to now her trying to get organizations in on this to focus on modern day lynchings. So who she's blaming for this? Who is she blaming? She's blaming white people, guys. That's bad. That's very, very bad because now she's turning it into a race issue with no proof, no witnesses, no nothing. That's crazy. She didn't even go through an investigation and she already have somebody that's going to be set up to focus on modern day lynchings. So it goes on and it says, Julian itself does not charge any fees for their services, but other necessary parts of the investigation do require fees. I need to raise funds for an independent autopsy. That is key in these types of cases. I also need funding to retain private investigators. The pathologists and investigators Julian has connected me with are the best in the nation. We need them to find the truth of what happened to my sister. Additionally, to be fully transparent, my family is trying to survive as we grieve and seek answers. Do you see do you see that, guys? I got to show you this. I got to put this part on the screen because this is the key of why I tell you stop sending money to these people. You understand? This is why I keep telling you, when these people have these GoFundMes, man, you got to stop sending your money, guys, because they really just want the money to survive. They don't want to do anything. They listen, sometimes those services are all for free. You understand? Sometimes other organizations will foot the bill, but these people will start GoFundMes in order to get rich, in order to make money, right? So now, again, with the GoFundMe that they have set up, I want to put this on the screen because it's very important for you guys to see what they're trying to do. So it says here, additionally, to be fully transparent, my family is trying to survive as we grieve and seek answers. Now, what does that translate? We need your money to pay our bills. That's what they're basically saying. We need your money to survive. Well, weren't they surviving before the death of Tonea? Weren't they surviving before the death? Weren't they paying their bills? Weren't they working and having a job? Why is it that all of a sudden, once this young lady died, all of a sudden they need to survive while they grieve? Guys, this is a money grab. Additionally, to be fully transparent, my family is trying to survive as we grieve and seek answers. My husband, our 5 kids, and I are doing our best, but we need help. I was raised never to ask for help and to get things done on my own, but I'm facing a mountain here that I can't climb alone. Well, what does that have to do with us, guys? See, if everybody that died require a GoFundMe and people giving thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars, guys, like, this doesn't make any sense, man. You got to come to the conclusion that people just want to get paid, and they'll use their family's death to take care of their family. This woman said, my husband and our 5 kids. We don't care about her husband and her 5 kids. What does that have to do with Tonea Nicole Miller? Because your husband supposed to be providing for your 5 kids. You understand? So why is she using her husband and 5 kids are doing their best? Listen, we don't care about what they're dealing with. This young lady is dead and she's trying to hustle her sister's death in order to provide for her family, guys. This is sick. It says, but we need help. I was raised never to ask for help and to get things done on my own, but I'm facing a mountain here that I can't climb alone. If someone did take my sister's life, it was meant to impact my family, impact more than my family. It was meant to send a message to us all. The question is, will we accept that? Tonea's nickname, Nicole Mouse. Why? So let me take this off the screen and continue reading the rest of that GoFundMe stuff. So it goes on and it says, because she loved cheese, a silly little thing mom gave her when she was small. Tonea Nicole was the final gift our great mother ever brought into this world. And yes, she knew how special she was. Her laugh lit up rooms. Her smile disarmed strangers. Her mind craved learning. Her energy inspired everyone around her. She worked out daily, made candles, made candles. Remember the other day, guys, I told you I saw a vision where some candles, like the wick of a candle was burning, like 10 candles was burning. And I kind of sorted my peripheral vision on the right side of my eye. And here we see that she made candles. It's creepy, but I'll just keep going. She made candles, created body oils, and sold them, right? She wasn't stagnant, not even close. After mom died, she kept finding reasons to live. You see that, guys? You got to listen. After mom died, she kept finding reasons to live, which mean when the mom died, the daughter was depressed and didn't want to live no more, guys. You got to read between the lines. She says, after mom died, she kept finding reasons to live, just not inside Flint's walls. Her spirit was too big for that city, too bright. She never took psychiatric medication, never expressed any S-word thoughts, never shown signs of wanting to end her life. She flew through storms and made it look easy. This is about truth, accountability, about refusing to let another Black woman disappear silently behind a premature label. So again, she's rage baiting you because she's telling you this is about accountability, about refusing to let another Black woman disappear. So she's reminding you of other Black women who died, right? And how they labeled it either S-word or they were murdered or whatever the case is. But she's labeling it as about refusing to let another Black woman disappear silently behind a premature label. It goes on and says, if you believe in standing with families fighting against systematic silence, if you think every life deserves full investigation, regardless of circumstances, please consider donating whatever you can. Share this wherever possible. Help us demand answers, because Tonea deserves, let me see, give me a minute. It says, because Tonea deserves better than assumptions, better than speed over substance rulings, better than grief twisting into bureaucracy. It says, all I ask for is justice for Tonea, for our family, for truth. A note on transparency. I promise you this, every update, every change, every dollar allocated will be posted right here on this platform. Full transparency, no guessing, no hiding. You deserve to know where your generosity is going, and I deserve to give you that. So I will be posting regular updates here on funds raised, services secured, investigation progress. If you've donated, check back. If you're considering donating, know that I take that trust seriously and will honor it with honesty at every turn. With gratitude and determination, Terry Miller, sister of Tonea Nicole Miller. Now, I don't believe nothing she say, guys. I really don't. I believe this is a money grab, and that family is gaslighting you because they want to use the money to take care of themselves. You understand? They just can't accept the fact that the sister basically unalived herself. And without clues, we just can't go out here blaming people. Without clues, you can't make assumptions, guys, because it doesn't make no sense. If she was living out there in Florida, who was she dating? And why the family don't know nothing about that? How come nobody's talking about these things? These are the type of things you need to understand, because the narrative that is on social media right now is that she went out to celebrate Juneteenth, which imply that she didn't live out there and she was out there to celebrate, and somehow she ended up getting hung from a tree. So it's going to make people believe that somebody took her and murdered her when she was out there celebrating Juneteenth, which is something that represents Black people, even though I don't care for none of these holidays or whatever they want to call that stuff, because that just now came into being. Nobody did that back in the 90s, you know? So when you think about this, guys, I don't believe what the sister is saying. I believe there's more to the story, and we're going to hear more as we continue to do our investigation. But as of now, we just got to accept the facts for what they are. They already closed the case. And I think that we really need to do better when it comes to these kind of stories, guys, because these influencers on social media, they're lying already. And I'm going to debunk all of those lies that are coming from these influencers on YouTube, because a lot of them, big channels and small, they're all lying right now. How are they going to tell you that this lady was out celebrating Juneteenth, but her sister said that is not true, that she lived out there trying to start her life over? So they're all lying for clicks and views, guys. So, hey, I'll be back later on with more content, bringing you more updates in regard to this story. Because if there was foul play, if somebody murdered this woman, we need facts, not a bunch of gossip, hearsay, and blaming. I cannot stand blaming people for stuff and there's no facts. It's one thing if she was out there and had a boyfriend, and now it's like, okay, we got to find out what's going on with his boyfriend, because just like with the Ashley Janae case, you know, you have this white guy that she was with, and all of a sudden she ended up dead. The stories were conflicting and it didn't make any sense. And now they're trying to make you believe that she unalived herself. I don't believe that. I believe that the man that Ashley Janae was with, that he know a heck of a lot more, because he never came out to tell the public exactly what they were fighting for. Still this day, he haven't broke no ice on that. So we're going to continue our investigation in regards to this story, and we're going to have you some updates on the Ashley Janae case. So y'all stay blessed. I'm going to get up on out of here, guys. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Ringo TV. I'll catch you in the next video, guys. We're out of here. Y'all take care. Peace. We out.
If you like our content, consider supporting via Cash App at $Ringo TV Raw. Become a patron on patreon.com for exclusive video content not shown on YouTube. You could also support through PayPal at paypal.me/Ringo TV Raw. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified of new content. Follow me on Instagram at Ringo TV Raw.
This is Ringo TV Reactions, the only channel on YouTube bringing you the truth 100% raw and uncut. I'm out. Peace.